Everybody gets that, and that's why we're extremely wealthy. Of course we had no idea, and in fact it was not evident that either the web or that the internet was going to have the impact it's had. Don't forget that there were lots of roadblocks moving from the Defense Advanced Projects Administration. To just take the D off of that was a major legislative effort. Then, luckily, Al Gore was attracted to this and invented the internet that we know today. And y'all are laughing.
I'm not laughing.
I'm deadly serious.
That's the truth.
That the truth is together. Al Gore conceived of a commercial and open internet at a time when nobody else believed it. And he laid the legislation to first take the D off of the defense,
the
DARPANET, to make it ARPA, to move it from ARPA to the National Science Foundation, and to move it out of the National Science Foundation to allow commercialization. At that time, there was a lot of competition. There was AOL, there was Genie, there was CompuServe, there was Prodigy. How many people have heard of any of these? I'm sad for you all.
Why?
Because they were abominations. And further, there was another company that announced a sort of fake network that didn't ever exist really. And later they announced, when the web came out, they announced a fake protocol, a suite that would allow you to publish on their fake network that didn't really exist, called Blackbird. Does anybody remember Blackbird? No. Okay, it only lasted for about 8 months and only in white papers and in public announcements from...
Are you talking about the semantic web?
It's Microsoft.
Oh, okay.
Microsoft, as we moved from NSFNet into open, first argued that anything that was open could be good, but they had lots of people to support that with Microsoft Network. But the tools for Microsoft Network that were going to supplant the World Wide Web were a suite called Blackbird, which never was produced. So I encourage you to look for that. But so we never knew that it would become commercial. I presented about the web in an information science class in front of a bunch of librarians and said, you know, this is what librarianship and publishing is going to turn into. And they said, and I showed them HTML, and this is still, I think there were 14 tags at that point. And they said, nobody can learn that. And but further, I went to the IETF, and we had all these plans, and Carl will remember this well. Nobody thought that URLs made any sense, nor that any human being could type them. They were only machine readable.
They're like punch cards.
Yeah, well, yeah, or worse. At least punch cards are tactile. So, no, I don't think there was any choice. Now, on the open source part, when I went to NC State in 1968, all software was open. Because you could only run it on mainframes, and so software had no value. And when I went to work at UNC in 1978, we always had access to all software. It was only in the period from the late 70s into the mid 80s that software was assigned some sort of value and hidden. And in fact, until 1998, as you mentioned, there was no open source software. There was only free software. You could only be free. You couldn't be open. There were other licenses, the beer license.
The BSD license.
Well, yeah, be it such when you want to call it a license. That's just like throwing it out.